Alright, this is the Konigsberg Tier 5 German cruiser. This is a very capable ship. You just gotta know how to play her, what to do and what not to do, and she can be a good money maker for you. I'm going to take her into battle. I'm going to show you what her strengths are, what her weaknesses are, and after the battle we'll take a look at her armor layout and armament layout. But before we go in there, I'm going to put on some camouflage and gonna put on some signals, a couple of flags that'll make it easier for me to put enemies on fire. 1, 2, and some flags that will help me get experience. It's a fairly new ship for me. The captain is still in training. And let's see, more speed. I could always use more speed. That'll get me 34 knots. Alright, yeah, 34.1. That's better than 32. I'll take it. So the Konigsberg is a ship that is better suited for support. You don't want to go charging in ahead of everybody else because you don't have the armor for it. You want to try and stay by battleships so that they can take the brunt of the enemy fire. There are no battleships in this particular battle, so you won't get to won't have to deal with any of that. But you will still get to see the strengths and the weaknesses of the ship. This is the Solomon Islands map. Any of you who have played World of Warships for any length of time know all about this map. One of the key things about the Konigsberg is don't go it alone. You want to stay near friends. You don't have the armor to become the attention of everybody else's fire. Something else to remember, and I definitely ignored it on this battle, was that the German AP armor piercing shells are really, really good. And you want to take advantage of those shells. Naturally, if your shells are just bouncing off the side of the enemy because they're very well angled toward you, you'd want to switch to high explosive. And against battleships, you want to go high explosive. I just forgot about it in this battle. You'll also notice on the lower left of the screen that the ship has 3 turrets, 1 forward, 2 aft. This means that you will definitely be benefited if the rear end of your ship is facing the enemy and you're zigzagging, because you can put 66% of your guns onto the enemy that way. And if you're zigzagging, you can alternate torpedo turrets. You've got 2 on the port and 2 on the left. 2 on the port and 2 on the starboard, sorry. You want to watch out for enemy battleships. They can citadel you from any direction and any range. If they're within range of you and they send shells your way, if you get hit, it's gonna hurt. So watch out for enemy battleships. So we've got, as usual with this map, the enemy is clogging up the middle. They usually do. One strategy against battleships is to hide behind an island. If you can hide behind an island and then ambush an enemy, especially if they're looking the other way, you can unleash a lot of torpedoes onto an enemy battleship. And if I'm right, a good hit will do 13,700 damage. So you have the potential to do 9 times that in just 2 salvos off of your ship, and 2 salvos per side is what you get. So we just wiped out the first enemy, and we did it with high explosive. Now notice on the mini-map there are two friendlies very close to the enemy, and we're kind of situated a little bit further back. This is an ideal arrangement. The only thing you gotta watch out for is, of course, torpedoing a friendly ship. You never want to do that. Okay, another enemy gone. 2 down. So here comes our first enemy cruiser, and he is focusing fire on the friendly ships. We just lost our destroyer. Oh boy. But we're also doing damage to him, and we're starting to take some friendly, or not friendly fire, but enemy fire. And just 2 salvos and we lost steering. So I went ahead and got that fixed. Sank another. And that's all with high explosive. But we got hit again, and now our steering is perma-fried. Well, not perma-fried, it'll be back in about a minute, but as far as this game is concerned, it might as well be permanent. That is a long time. Alright, took out another enemy. Now we got 2 cruisers coming in, and I'm stuck going in circles, but I'm also bringing my other torpedo tubes to bear. So I'm going to go ahead and send those against the lead and maybe take some more shots at the lead. No, I'm going to focus on the second guy. Remember those torpedoes that I just fired. You can see the dispersion on the shells. Excellent dispersion. So now I'm loading up high explosive. My torpedoes did land on that first cruiser and I took him down. And here's my first salvo of armor piercing, and I took another guy down. That's 6 enemies sunk, 85 shell hits, 6 enemies shot down. That's really good considering how crappy the AA is on board this ship. 9 incapacitations, 6 secondary hits, 7 fires, 2 floodings, 2 torpedo hits, 2 citadels. As you can see, this is a very capable ship. It really is. You just got to be mindful of a couple of things and you'll do well. Don't take on a battleship. Be careful about who you're going broadside to. Be careful about becoming the center of attention. Don't go charging out there. Don't be charging out or they will wipe you out. Now as you get into higher tiers, you'll learn more strategies. Tier 5 is really where you have to start focusing on those strategies. But there's only the enemy carrier left. We're not going to get there. We're going to win. Alright, so that was a fantastic battle. Did 1,644 experience. Took, let's see what team score is. Took first on team score. Yep, I knew that was coming. Detailed damage against Konigsberg. 17 hits and 6,771. I probably would have done a lot more if I was using AP. But look at this. On the Emerald. That's a tier 5 British cruiser. High explosive shells, 20 hits and did 7769 damage. Armor piercing shells, I only did 2 hits and did nearly as much damage. Can you imagine how much damage I would have done if I had just stuck with AP? I would have wiped them out in no time. The AP on German cruisers is really good. You don't want to ignore it. Naturally, if you see your shells bouncing off the side of the enemy ship because they're angled well toward you or away from you, you want to switch to high explosive. But you don't have to do much of that. Not with a German cruiser. Now going up against an enemy battleship, obviously 150 millimeter guns isn't gonna do much. You might as well just load a high explosive and roll with that. So against the other Konigsberg, how'd I do? Lousy, but landed a torp. Minikaze, I can do anything against a Minikaze in a Konigsberg. If you want to fire HE, fire HE. You might get some overpens with the armor piercing against destroyers. So what? You do a great job of destroying enemy destroyers. Now, who hurt me? Well, the enemy Emerald, if he'd have landed 14 hits on me, he probably would have taken out a lot more of my health than he did. So watch your angling. Credits an XP. How'd I do there? 140,000 silver. That's nice. 1,644 experience. That's not bad against bots. I probably would have gotten 4,200 experience if I was going against human beings. Let's take a look at the armor layout. Well, take a look at those rear turrets. Notice anything odd about them? It's the only ship in World of Warships I know where your main turrets are not centerlined. I have no idea why they did that. No idea. Well, it's funny to look at. Alright, let's get into the numbers. Armor layout. Filter out all these different layers, and what have we got left? There are the guns. We've got 20 millimeters of armor thickness on most of it, which is not much, and 30 millimeters on the face, which is still not much. Thank God you got rapid reload time. Here's the Citadel. As you can see, it runs nearly the length of the entire ship. The darn thing is huge, and it's definitely exposed above the waterline. Ooh, 15 millimeters, not much. And 20 millimeters on top. That's just not much armor. A battleship is going to cut through you in no time. Enemy cruisers will be able to do that. Heck, even an enemy destroyer at close range broadsiding you with AP is probably going to score a Citadel. So protect your Citadel. Next layer up, you can see it does wrap around the top of the Citadel quite nicely. And it does add an additional layer of armor, 50 millimeters or 14, which is respectable for a tier 5 ship. There are others that are better, I'm sure. Now on top of that, what have we got? Ooh, 10 millimeters. Well, the conning tower is safe at 100, except from enemy battleships. What else have we got? We've got just some plating, 10 millimeter, 20 mil. I have pistols that have bigger bullets than that stuff has armor. Ugh. Well, she's not known for her armor, people. Survivability, 24,300, ain't bad. Her main guns. Alright, reload time was 7.9 seconds. Now that is a little slower than bone stock. I had to slow down the guns because I traded off the guns for rapid turret rotation. But your mileage may vary. There's a lot of different ways you can tweak this ship to get it to perform the way you want it to. This is just the way that I wanted to roll with it. The maximum dispersion, 147 millimeters. On paper, that looks pretty bad. But you saw how it was in battle. The dispersion was pretty darn good. And you can see the damage. HE shells, 1700, but AP, 3900, which is pretty good. Now, the shell velocity, That's, I believe that's around 1,800 miles per hour, 960 meters per second. You can crunch the math and look it up. These are really flat shooting guns, so hitting targets with them, easy. But lobbing shots over the tops of islands and having them drop down onto an unprotected main deck of an enemy ship, not gonna happen. So you've got to plan that carefully. It's not really much of a factor at long range, but at medium to close range, yeah, it's gonna make a difference. Secondary armament's not bad. 88 millimeters, 4-second reload, that can do 1100 damage. And you've got a total of 6 guns, 3 turrets, each with 2 guns. That's not bad. It's not wonderful, but it's not bad. 4-kilometer range, that's pretty close. Now your torpedoes, 4 launchers, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. Look at that speed, 64 knots. Those puppies are screaming through the water. They're really hauling ass. And the 6-kilometer range is pretty good. So those torpedoes for Tier 5, pretty darn effective. Reload time, just over a minute. So realize, once you let those puppies fly, you might as well just turn the ship around and let fly with the other torpedoes. But if your tail end is pointed towards the enemy, it's all going to be to your advantage, because you've got 66% of your main guns pointed at the enemy, plus you're zigzagging back and forth, throwing the enemy fire off. Plus, since you're zigzagging, you can keep throwing torps all day long. It's a very effective way of using this ship in battle. Alright, your AA defense, as you can see, it's not impressive. You've got not much to work with. Maximum speed, 32.5 knots is respectable. Rudder shift time, 6.9 seconds isn't bad. You can work with it. You could definitely benefit from a faster rudder shift. Now your concealment, detectability by sea, 12.4 kilometers, and your main battery firing range is 16.5, which means that you can fire off a salvo from the cloak of invisibility, which is quite nice. But realize, once you fire those main guns, you're going to be detectable out to about 17, 18 kilometers. That's just par for the course. So let's take a look at our modules. Now, if you thought AA was bad, take a look at what it is on the A hull. I have the B hull loaded up on this ship that you're seeing on your main screen. But at the A hull, you can see AA defense is less than half of what it was on the B hull. It's really terrible. I went with the A hull, or the B hull, because I did want to give it at least enough AA to let everybody know that I'm there. And somehow I managed to shoot down 6 enemy fighters. I don't know how I did it in that battle, just got lucky. And you also get 1700 points on your ship's hit points. That's always nice. Then I also went with the gunfire control system. This extends your range 10%. And it's worthwhile. Now with my captain skills, now he's under training, so it's not his training is still not up to speed, but once it is, it will be. I went with endurance, priority target. I went with that because if I see that there's a metric ton of enemies shooting at me, it's time to turn around and run away. I have a tendency to focus on just one enemy and not look around. But your mileage may vary. You might want to put the ship together in a way that is better suited for your style. I also went with rapid turret rotation. I like to bring the turrets to bear. Now, last stand, you saw that my ship was hit several times and still lost its steering twice. So last stand is one that I feel is important because if your engine or if your steering gets taken out, they still work. Not very well, but they still work. And if you have very little armor, you're gonna love last stand. And then I went with torpedo reload time reduced by 10% because these are very effective torpedoes. You really want to make the most of them. Your mileage, it may vary. Set up whatever you want. It's your ship. Have fun with it. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and have fun.